Hello and welcome. In the spirit of my brand new book, The Delicate Art of Transformation, I've been on a quest for truth. What does it actually take to create real, lasting transformation? And here you are on the precipice of something big. I don't think that's a coincidence that we should ignore. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. This is where true growth and transformation happens when the right person says the right thing at the right time and it all clicks. Those are the moments that make all the difference, and that is what this summit is here for. You're going to hear from some incredible experts who every single one I personally invited to be here. So listen with an open heart, do what they say, take what resonates, try the practices, get their free gifts, and let this space be the place where you find your next step. My name is Talia Joy. I'm your host. And if you want all the free gifts, the resources, and the only place where you can be entered for prizes, you can join the Insider Circle for free below. All right, without further ado, take a deep breath in. Think about what you are transforming, what you are here for. And let's dive into today's episode. Hello, Jessica. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. I am so excited that you're here and for this conversation. How are you today, my love?
Oh, I am so good. I am so happy to be here with you. So truly happy. We are birthday twins. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that was so cool to find that out. There's only been a couple people in my life that I've ever kind of discovered that. And then there's this instant connection. It's like, okay, I got you.
You're the only one that I know that shares a birthday with me. I don't know any. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I do know one other person. Yes.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
For anyone listening, November 4th, shout us out. If we have any other November 4th birthdays, tag us on Instagram. Let us know because we are, we're rare. We're 1 out of 365. I mean, we're unicorns.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're here for this conversation today and that we do get to connect. And so let's just dive in. And if there's anybody here who's new to your work, I would love to hear, just as we start off, a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your journey, and of course, what you're here to share about today.
Yeah. So I'm a nurse by background. I've been a nurse for about 22 years, and about 4.5 years ago now, I ended up leaving my career. I thought I was going to be a nurse for the rest of my life. And what I didn't realize at the time, I was super burnt out, overwhelmed. It was just a lot. It was right after COVID. And so I ended up leaving my job. It was the hardest decision that I've ever had to make, like super hard. I carried insurance, benefits, all those things. And so there was so much fear behind like what's going to happen on the other side of this. And what I will say is that it has been a roller coaster. It's been so beautiful and so hard, but so rewarding all at the same time. So I became a nurse coach. And then I quickly realized that I wanted to go even deeper than that. And so Breathwork ended up finding me. And then I got into so many different things. I just found that I was like a sponge for healing and learning because for the 17 years prior, I had been in the Western medicine model. That's what I knew. That's what I grew up with. And I also grew up very religious. And so I felt like I was in this box where everything that I had learned was all that I knew. And I didn't know that there was a whole other world of healing. Like there's healing outside of taking a pill when you were sick. And like, there's just a whole other world out there. And so it has opened up my eyes to so many things and so many healing modalities. And it's just been a beautiful ride. So I've gotten 7 different certifications in the last 4 years because I just want to keep learning. And the last one I just did was a Somatic Practitioner program, which was amazing. And it has really made me reevaluate even where I'm going and what I'm doing in my own space here in my coaching business. And so I really focus a lot on breath work, on nervous system regulation, nervous system healing, because for me, that has been the deepest transformation for myself, as I didn't realize I was living basically burnt out for years without knowing it. I was just living in my sympathetic. And so that's a little bit about me. And I mostly do things online. I do some things in person. I love hosting women's circles. I find that women are mostly the people that I serve. There are a few men in my world, but I do women's circles. I do some in-person movement and meditation classes. I have a Kundalini certification. I have yoga certification. So it's like I do all sorts of dabbling in all sorts of different things. But online, it's mostly working with people to create sustainable success, because I found that if we don't have the nervous system, the tools to do that, then we're just living in chaos, which is, to kind of wrap this up here, I had basically taken my career in nursing and moved it into my career here as a coach. And I didn't realize that I had basically taken this burnout, this overworking, hustling, doing more, and I took that into building a business. And all I wanted when I left the hospital was like freedom. That was like my number one thing, is I wanted to feel free in my body. I wanted to feel free to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. But what ended up happening is I ended up bringing this like hustle, go, do, be, make it look like everybody else, says you should make it look like. And then I kind of caught up in all of that. And so over the last year, I've been really stripping it back and being like, no, the nervous system first. We have to find safety in our body, because if we don't find safety, then everything is just going to fall away. So that's me.
Oh my gosh. I'm like nodding as you're talking. Like, yes, I hear you. I hear you. And I just really want to acknowledge you as well for starting to witness that pattern, because, Wayne Dyer says you take yourself everywhere you go. And, it's something that we can take it's almost like neuroses. Like, I don't mean it in a bad way, but that either like hyperfixation on success or perfection or go, and feeling drained. And then we just transfer it onto something else. And especially entrepreneurship. One of the reasons I asked you to be here today and in the summit is exactly for this, which is why I'm so excited we're talking about it. You have such a beautiful way of combining the nervous system, the safety, with the success piece, because, often people think in some ways it's one or the other. I'm going, smashing goals, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, God, checking all the things, or I'm home meditating, completely surrendering. And it's almost like there's nothing in the middle, or it can kind of seem like that. So I'm really grateful that you kind of, meet that in the middle. And I'm curious, just to kind of start diving in deeper, why do so many of us struggle with that, do you think?
I think because what I've learned is that the number one reason that we have nervous system dysfunction is pressure. So there's so much pressure from the outside, and a lot of times actually we put the pressure on ourselves. Then that's how it was for me. Nobody outside of me was like, you have to do this, it has to look like this, but there was so much pressure I put on myself. I wanted, because I left my hospital job making a good amount of money. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to be able to go into this position. I'm going to create my own business, and I'm going to be making just as much money, if not more. And you get into this, almost like a hypey energy of this is what it's going to be. And you see online all the people that are the success stories, everybody is we're making this, we're doing this, we're shouting it out. And so it's there's this pressure underneath us to get it right away, to make it look like that right away, when we don't see all of the struggles that maybe they have been through. Because online, it is a very much what do they say, Instagram worthy. It's you see one thing, but actually reality is completely different. And so I think there's actually a lot of people that struggle with this. We just don't even know it, because that's not what people talk about online, because that doesn't look pretty. So I think a lot of us are operating, from this place of pressure, where it's I need to do this, I need to do it now, it has to look this way, it has to look perfect, it has to be X, Y, Z. And then what happens is we burn ourselves out. Our nervous system starts getting just so fried. And so we put up these freeze. I think freeze and fawn are the two biggest things that entrepreneurs face. At least this is what I see in my clients, is you have this desire to keep on going. You want to keep on going, but your body is this does not feel safe. This does not feel sustainable. This is too much, too fast. And so what I've learned is that if we can really slow it down and take a step back, which feels counterintuitive to most people, because we were taught do more, be more, go harder, work faster, all the things. So I think when we can really step back and find safety in the small little shifts, the small little things, okay, we don't need to make $20,000 a month right away when we start. That would be beautiful and wonderful. And some people that happens. But for someone that's just starting out, or even someone that might be struggling in their business, or even if you are doing well, it's like if you want to get to that next step, it's like we really have to learn how to find safety in our body to hold that. Because if we don't feel safe holding it, it's going to float away. It's just, we're not going to be able to sustain it. So it's learning the nervous system tools. And sometimes it's as simple, because people are like, well, what does that even mean? Sometimes it's as simple as just stopping yourself in the midst of like when you feel all this pressure, you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much I need to do. There's so many things. It's like stop and take a breath. Like just maybe even just close down your eyes, take a breath, like soften your shoulders, and be like, okay, how do I want to feel in this moment? And I think that's one of the big things too, is that we were taught that feeling was bad. Like, don't cry, don't feel sad, you're okay, everything's fine. But really, when we can start to get into our body and learn how to listen to our body, learn the subtle shifts that our body is making, learning how, okay, maybe this doesn't feel good in my body right now, so how do you want to feel? It's like really getting back to that foundation of like, what does success mean to me? Like actually defining it first. I think that is a huge thing that we miss. And I think that's what I do with a lot of my clients is like, okay, you want success, but honestly, what does success mean to you? Not what did your parents tell you it means? Not what does society tell you it means? Like, what does it mean to you? Maybe to you, it's having a little hobby farm and feeling ease and joy in your life. Or maybe it's having a big mansion, or maybe it's having the cool car, or maybe it's having a lot of money in your bank account, like whatever that is. But it's like understanding what it is for you, not what someone else told you it is. And then learning how to, from that place, like, what do I want to feel like? Because I think that is so important, is listening to our body. What does our body want to feel? How does that feel for us? And then how do we create from there? But it's like getting back to that place of like, we have to find safety in the body. We have to take things slowly, which is hard for a lot of people.
Yes. Oh, this is so good. I'm so glad that we're going there. And yeah, you're absolutely right. So I want to ask and zoom in on something you just touched on. How would you define, because there's, how there's so many buzzwords. We hear alignment, we hear all these things. Holding the capacity to be able to allow your body to hold the capacity of what you want, whether that's more money, more health, love, joy, whatever. What does that mean to you? Let's talk about that a little bit more.
I think this is something that's really misunderstood, is capacity. Because I think for people, a lot of people are like, if I could just do more, like I just need to do more and put more things on top of myself. But what I picture is like, you're here and then it's just like the walls are falling in on you. And instead of like being able to hold all the things that are falling, it's like it collapses in on you instead. So capacity to me is being able to work through things in real time, slow little sips, like maybe pouring just a little bit into yourself to create this capacity. Sometimes I think of this and I talk about it in with breath. So when I first started doing breath work, I couldn't hold there was like this breath pattern that I would do. And so if you can wake up in the morning and you can breathe into a count of 20, which is really hard to do if you've never done breath work before. So it's something that you have to build the capacity for. You have to allow yourself like a little by little to like increase the lung capacity. And in order to do that, you just have to practice. It's like taking this little practice, but it's breathing into a count of 8. And then maybe a week later, it's breathing into a count of 10. But we'll slowly be able to increase our capacity if we do it over time. It's kind of like training for a marathon. We're not going to be running 26 miles tomorrow. Like that's not sustainable. That's not something we're going to do. We're going to completely like injure ourselves, hurt ourselves, whatever it is. We have to over time, it's like this practice of little bits at a time. We're going to create a training plan for ourselves, basically, and like creating this plan, this map for ourselves of like, what do I want? How do I get myself there? And it's doing little things at a time. And so I say it's just like small, little incremental steps to create that capacity. It's not just like just piling it on. I think it really has to be slowly over time. That to me is what capacity is.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Right before you said the running thing, I pictured, for a while, I really decided that I wanted to be able to do a pull up, like literally one.
Yeah.
I still can't do it anyway. But I was learning, and like first you start with this, and it's like this 26-step program of like bringing bands in and doing. And I was like, oh my gosh! First you're working on your grip. First you have to work on just hanging there for 10 seconds, being able to hang there.
Yeah.
And that's what it reminded me of: is expanding your capacity to hold more. And in some ways, that's do more, feel more, receive more. It's just more, right? What you want is more of something, whether it's joy or health or money.
Yes.
So I love how you are describing that and expanding our capacity. What are some signs that we aren't holding the capacity of what we want? Or what are some signs that we need this, that you're talking about, more nervous system safety as we're moving forward in our growth journey?
I think this can be tricky because I think these patterns that we've grown up with are just something that we've learned, like the busyness, the doing, the going, all of that. And then the feelings that we have inside, we're like, well, this is just how life is. And these patterns over time, I think we start to, it's like you feel something just doesn't feel quite right. It's like, okay, maybe this job isn't right for me. Maybe I'm burnt out, or I'm just irritated with people. I think a lot of it starts with like irritation. Like all of a sudden people start irritating you more, things start irritating you more, and you're like, what is going on? And you just think like, oh, this is just how life is, and it's just, we just kind of roll with it. But when you stop and actually take a pause of like, what is going on here? How do I want to live? And I guess that's a big thing. And I think a lot of it is burnout. I think burnout is like a big overarching thing that a lot of people talk about. And what I want to say is that it's not something that we can't fix. I think you brought up neuroplasticity at some point, and maybe it was even before we started recording, but our brains are neuroplastic, which means that we can rewire, which means that these patterns that we've grown up with, these patterns that we just think are who we are in our life, and we can never outgrow them. It's like it can take small little shifts to repattern the way that we do things. And often that's just in bringing our awareness to it. So it's like, that's the number one thing that I tell people is bringing your awareness to how are you showing up each and every day? How does that feel in your body? What are you spending your energy, your time, your attention, all of that on? Because that all really adds into, like, if you want a certain thing in your life and you're like, this is where I desire to go, I have this big dream, I have this goal, whatever it is, you really have to go back to, well, how am I living my everyday life? And is this goal attainable with what I am doing here and how I am living and who I am being and how I am showing up and who I'm surrounding myself with? And so it's really taking an inventory of, how do I feel in my body? Is this how I want to feel? Is that goal, dream, and desired state where I'm living right now? Because sometimes it can be as simple as, bringing your awareness to it and then saying like, okay, that's not how I want to live. That dream over here doesn't coincide with this. And so I want to make that shift. How do I do that? So we have to be able to feel it in the body, to notice when these patterns keep coming up again, where you're like, oh shoot, I just did this pattern again. How can I change it? And so grace, giving ourselves grace, because it's not something like this pattern has been in your life since you were born, probably, or until, when you were little. And so it's learning to give yourself grace, learning that overnight, it's not going to change overnight. One of the analogies I use sometimes with people is it's like, we're planting seeds here. We're planting seeds of like, okay, I want this dream, this goal, this desire. And so I'm going to plant the seeds of this dream, this goal, this desire right now. But now I have to tend to it every day. I have to water it. I have to nurture it. I have to maybe give it some compost or give it some love, talk some love into it. And so our crops will grow over time if we tend to them. This is like same with our body. If we allow the space and time for our body to make those subtle, simple like shifts of just noticing, naming this pattern that you have, and then shifting it. It's really like this 3-step framework that I have. It's like notice, name, and shift. But it's not something that's going to happen overnight.
That's so powerful, because even just the noticing, I'm just kind of looking at, myself, my clients, just how we tend to do things. And honestly, often we don't even realize we're burnt out, especially people that are multi-passionate or do have things, full-time jobs, children, lots of obligations, different things going on. And it's almost like it manifests as, like you said, irritability and all these different things. I found that I was starting to almost feel like resentful, like, oh, I have this Zoom thing at noon.
Yes.
And it's like I had a complete pause in last year, 2025, of almost everything except one-on-one clients. And I hosted my retreat, but I had to take everything off because I was starting to get scratchy. Like I loved what I was doing for so long. And then I started to go like, oh, like at 7 o'clock, I gotta. So there's these little signs. And I just love that you're saying like, name it, see it. Is this really what I want? Does this feel like freedom? Does this feel like I'm doing my passion? And yeah, of course, like I hate doing my money Fridays. I hate it, but it's part of the business. Not always do we love what we're doing. But when it comes to, as you said, noticing how you're feeling and your energy, what's going on in your body, if I'm starting to scrunch up at something I used to love, it's like maybe there's something going on in the business, or all of our obligations, all of the stuff going on. I can almost hear, we tend to go like, but I'm just really busy. Like there's not a lot I can do with it. So maybe let's point to that for a second as we're looking at success in whether someone has a business or they're transforming their life in any way. I almost want to break the stigma of like, you have to sit around meditating for months. Cause when you're saying slowing down, I get so deeply what you're saying because I've just been like schooled in that, but it can so easily think that you have to take a break from everything. You have to cancel appointments and all of a sudden like go to an Airbnb. So I want to talk about that.
Yes. I also want to name too, and something that I didn't name before was sometimes this can show up as like disease and sickness and illness in the body too. Because if our nervous system is always going, it's always on, it's fried, we're like fried out, then it's going to show up in different, it's going to manifest itself into, all of a sudden you're sick, you've got this cold, or now you've got this autoimmune disease, or all of a sudden you've got something else. It's like it can manifest in our body in different ways, and it can show up in different things because we're not taking care of ourselves. Mm-hmm. So what we can do is, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to sit because when I first started breathwork, I was doing breathwork a lot, like hour-long sessions, a few times a week, sometimes half-an-hour sessions. And now that I'm busier in my own business, it's like I don't have time to do that all the time. So what I will tell people, especially if there's moms or anybody that's like picking your kids up from carpool line, or like you've got other things to do, it's finding those micro moments where you can sit and just take a pause. So even if you're in the line, or you're sitting to like pick up your kid from soccer practice or school, or whatever it is, like just taking a pause. If you can close down your eyes, because I think when we can really go inward, which means just like not the distraction of the outside noise in the world, because we are human, we're very visual, and so the second we see something, we're like, oh, okay, what is that, like squirrel. So if we can just sit and like close our eyes for a moment, and maybe even just put a timer on and set it for a minute. It doesn't have to be this hour-long session where you sit every morning and you meditate. It can be, what I like to do is, before I wake up in the morning, or when I wake up in the morning, before I grab my phone, which I think this is like a super, super important shift for anybody. How you start your day and how you end your day are huge, because when you go to sleep at night, like usually you will dream, or you'll think about things in the subconscious, or something that you might have read before you went to bed, or watched before you went to bed. So if you can just take a couple minutes to like shift, okay, how do I want to feel when I sleep? How do I want to feel tomorrow? What was great about my day today? Like think about that before you go to bed. And then when you wake up in the morning, same thing. I try to do a gratitude practice, like at least 5 things that I'm grateful for before I wake up. This can take 30 seconds. It is not like it's like a 10-minute thing that you have to do every day. It's literally just, what am I grateful for today? I'm so grateful I woke up. I'm grateful that the sun is shining. If it's shining, I can hear the birds, whatever it is. And then just give yourself a minute or two of just taking some breaths. Because our breath sounds so simple, but really if you can just slow your breath down, it's like a slow inhale and a slow exhale that can get you into your parasympathetic. And anytime throughout your day, if you're feeling this pressure, this force, this whatever, like that I found for me is the simplest way to shift, is just taking some breath, like 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever you can take for yourself can really shift your whole day. Just taking a breath, softening your shoulders and your jaw, just taking this power of the pause, I love to call it, because it really is powerful if we can do it. And then what I found for myself now is I crave it. Instead of craving like the chaos, I crave this, like, even if I can just take 30 seconds. Like that is just enough shift to like help you get through the day.
Yes, I love that. It's so tangible, so powerful. It's also, it's tangible, but all this goes along with healing and allowing ourselves to have a moment of pleasure or of regulation or to ourselves or to just come back into our own body. I know for myself, healing things like abandonment and my relationship with my body, just me showing up 30 seconds at a time, a minute at a time for myself is healing. And yeah, I couldn't imagine now going after quote unquote success without these types of tools. Like you were reflecting in the beginning of your journey. I look back, I'm like, how did I even last 10 years in business without the awareness of the nervous system? Really? Holy crap, I was so burnt out. So thank you so much for sharing that. Just the power of the pause. I love how you say that as well. And so to kind of almost zoom out a little bit again, when we're looking at our true transformation, you're saying sustainable success. So what is the difference? Why is sustainable success in the way you're talking about it a game changer when we're changing our lives?
Yeah. So I think anybody can create success. Like anybody can do it. We are programmed as humans to, most of us, like if you want something, you can create it. But it's like, what is the way that we're creating it? Are we creating in a way that feels so pressure filled, that feels so just not like us? Because I think a lot of that goes back to our patterns. If we've learned that like success looks this certain way, it goes back to like, what does success mean to you? We've learned that like success looks a certain way. It's a certain amount of money in our bank account. It's a house, it's a car, it's a, whatever it is. We've learned that this is what success is. But if we try to achieve that and we try to go after this goal that's somebody else's goal or what society told us is our goal, it's not going to feel great in our body for an extended period of time. Like, yes, you're going to be able to get there. You're going to be able to hold it for a while. Like you were talking, you had 10 years you lived in your business just how it was, which is great. But then over time, you're going to feel that disconnect between your body, I say it's like your body and your soul, basically. Like it's a disconnect of like, I don't love this anymore. This feels draining. I'm starting to resent it. I'm starting to burn out, like whatever that is. And so if we want to sustain something, if we want to be successful in our business, in our life, in whatever that is for us, in our love life, whatever it is, it has to come from this place of like a firm foundation. That's what I often talk about is like, so I grew up religious, and there was this parable that I grew up with, and it was like you have the wise man who built his house on the rock, and you had the foolish man who built his house on the sand. And when the rain comes down, the sand washes away, but the rocks stay firm because it's a firm foundation. And so we want to build our life, our business, or whatever it is on the rocks because that is a firm foundation. Where if we build from the sand where it's just like, oh, I'm just going to throw this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do whatever everybody else says, but I don't really know if it's right for me. And we've kind of lost ourselves in all of it. We're just performing almost. We're performing because this is what we think it should be like. This is what someone told us we should do. But that's not us. So it's not going to be sustainable because it doesn't feel right for us. It doesn't feel good for us. And so you'll be able to do it. People often do this for their whole lives. And then at the end, they're just like, what was that even for? I feel so depleted. What did I even get out of it? Like it doesn't feel sustainable. So you can stay in a place that's successful. It just might not feel good in the body. And so that's what for myself, sustainable success is really about feeling ease and joy and fun. It's like, what are your core desired states? Mine are like joy and fun and ease and freedom. And so to me, that's what success is. And so I want to create sustainably that place, what that feels like. And if I do that in this place of like learning, finding what's safe in my body, learning what feels good to me, learning who I am and what I actually want, like that's what's really powerful. And that's what's going to bring sustainability.
I love that. And it's just like you're speaking to sustainable success isn't just 10 and 20K months and a business that, gathers more followers and has more opt-ins. Like that's not, it's almost like if success was a whole pie, your business is only a section of it.
Yes.
But like you're talking about in your body, how do you feel? And also I know for entrepreneurs, my clients, myself, it's very easy to neglect our needs just because we have to write more emails. We got to get the sales page up. We have a client waiting for me. So I'm not going to go for the walk. I'm going to forget to drink my water till, noon or 1. And I didn't do my yoga because like I couldn't, like my client needs. And that's so easy to transfer even that type of behavior into a business as well. So it's almost like sustainability isn't just your business being quote unquote successful. It's you. And I was hearing too, as you were talking about that, I just asking the question, could I do this forever? Like, I don't just mean creatively, but how you're going right now. Do you feel like you could do this forever? And there was definitely times where I'm like, absolutely not. But now I have off time built into my business. I have down days with no clients and calls. I have days for just creativity. So my, juices can flow and I can sit in my comfy pants. And that to me feels like, yeah, I could keep doing this, but definitely not up until I made those types of changes that you're talking about it. So as we start to wrap this up, I'd love to just ask, is there anything unsaid, especially if people are really feeling this and they're like, okay, yeah, I'm ready. Is there anything unsaid or anything that we can take from this that we haven't already talked about?
Yeah, I mean, I want to name that it can feel very frustrating at first. So for myself, I had started to build my business. And for 3 years of the 4.5 years I've been doing business on my own, I operated out of this like hustle, do more, be more. It's just got to look like this. And I neglected, even after finding breathwork, even after breathwork found me. And I knew that this was like a tool that I needed for myself. I would find myself often being like, oh, I'll do that later. I'll do that later. I got to get this email out. I got to do this. And then I would notice that like I had taken what probably could have taken me 20 minutes, took me hours. Because I was like, squirrel, oh, I should go put a load of laundry in. Oh, I should go do this. It was like my brain couldn't focus on one thing because, and this is what I talk about in my program, Sustainable Success, but I kind of go through the brain and how the brain actually will shut off and go offline if we're coming from this pressure place. And so what I want to tell you is that you're not broken. Our brain is neuroplastic, like we talked about. So there's rewiring that can happen. We can learn to shift these patterns that we've just learned our life. We can learn to shift that. It can be done, but it's going to take a little bit of time. And so to give yourself some grace. So even if you're listening and you're like, gosh, I feel like I want to throw in the towel on my business, or life feels so stressful right now, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like just kind of stepping back and bringing awareness to, okay, how do I want to feel? What does this look like today? And being soft with yourself and giving yourself grace like I talked about, because we didn't know what we didn't know, but now we know. So now we can build from this place of like, okay, this is what I want life to feel like. How can I build from here? And then giving yourself the space and the time to do it. And really, really important is actually giving your nervous system the space that it needs to take the breaths, to take the pauses, because, and people had told me this before, but I didn't listen, but I am telling you from somebody who struggled for 3 years to get their business up and going, the nervous system work is the number one thing that has helped me over this last year, that has helped me not burn my business to the ground, that has helped me work my way out of debt that I had gotten myself into, because I kept thinking like, I just have to do more. I just have to put this program out. If I just do this one, if I just do this, but nothing actually felt aligned. I was just throwing things out there to throw things out there because I wanted to make money fast. And it's like, that's not sustainable. And so it's really slowing down, taking an inventory of your life, of your business. What do I really want it to look like? And then from there, that's when you can build. But you have to have that awareness first of like, what do I actually want? What do I want it to look like? What do I want it to feel like? So just know that it's possible for you.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you. It's so beautiful. You practice what you preach and walk the path and help us to do it. And I just am so grateful for that. So thank you so much. And you have a free gift for us, don't you? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I have because if you're sitting here and you're like, well, how do I even know? I have a freebie that's called the 5 Signs That You're Living in Overdrive. And so it's a little worksheet that you can kind of walk yourself through to check that out. And then I also am going to give a little coupon code for my Sustainable Success product that I was talking about in here. We get a little bit into like the science of the nervous system, a little bit of the brain, because I think it's really important to understand these pieces. So we kind of walk through the awareness, the understanding, responding, rewiring, responding, and embody. It's this five 5-point framework that I've kind of established with learning myself and how I was running things and how I was doing things and just how I know works to create that sustainability if we can just like slow it down a little bit. So yeah, so I've got both of those for you guys, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll put all the links below. And if you're part of the Insider Circle, you already have the links emailed to you. Thank you so much for the coupon code for your course, as well as the free gift. That's so important. Just take this conversation and put it into real life, you guys. It's such a powerful one. Everything Jessica's sharing, this is the secret to what you see people doing, and the staying power too in your company, in your business, in your life, being able to hold that success and stay there. So again, thank you so much for being a part of this. And if we want to follow along in your journey, for everyone that's vibing, where do you hang out online, and where are kind of the best places to check out either your work or on social media?
Yeah, so I am, my business is called Wild Soul Collective. So I am on Instagram at Wild Soul Collective LLC. And then otherwise I do have my own personal on Facebook. I'm just Jessica Jante. That's just my name. And I do have a Facebook group. I have a email list is where I put a lot of things. I think socials sometimes get a little overwhelming, at least for me. I don't hang out there as much, but yeah, so you can find me on all those places. If you want to be on my email list, then you get to know all the things that I'm putting out there. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And I'll put all the links below. Thank you again, Jessica. Such a powerful conversation. I'm so grateful you're here.
Thank you for having me so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Transformation Summit. Make sure to take what this guest said, implement it into your life, check the show notes for their gift and to follow along on the journey, and make sure to tune in to the next guest episode. Namaste.